S&OP Community Weekly Podcast. Brought to you by Ahmed Khalid and Ahmed Al-Hamamsi from Middle East. Our Global S&OP Community Podcast mission is to build a global community from supply chain, marketing, trade marketing, sales and finance all over the world, where everyone's voice could be heard and listened. Every week, we host a new episode with great thought leader in the S&OP industry. We believe that one word, one story, or one conversation could open up the light in the screen of your consciousness and you'll never be the same again. We discuss hot and trending topics with our subject matter experts by asking the right questions that uncover their valuable experience in our show. You can visit our website ahmedkhaled.co. Stay tuned every week with our Global S&OP Community Podcast. Hey. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for all the fabulous people in our S&OP community who are listening to us and watching us right now. Welcome to episode number 11 with our weekly Global S&OP community show. Can you please let us know where are you from? Just to say hello to your wonderful country and send you some greetings from our side. We are here for you, and we are here because your voice should be heard and listened. That's why we have this weekly show by discussing trending topics in the S&OP with global thought leaders in the industry. We need your engagement with us by asking questions and giving us your feedback. The good news that today and even last week that we have already started distributing our podcast in Apple and Google and Spotify and even Anchor. What do we need from your side right now? Please, if you can hear us right now, may I ask you to open your iTunes or Google Podcast and search by Global S&OP Community and just hit subscribe to be notified every week with our episode, the new episode that we have. Once you subscribed into the podcast, can you please write down that you have subscribed in the comment? We need to have a bigger impact in people's life by this show. What do you think, Hamamsi?
It's great news, of course. Hello and welcome, everybody. We're so happy that we can reach more and more people through being on Apple, on Spotify, on Anchor, and on Google. And of course, we're trying, of course, this is knowledge that you'll not find in books, and we're building the community from marketing, sales, trade marketing, everyone, of course, and the students, even everyone who wants to join, of course, are more than welcome. And we've seen a lot of people joining us. Thank you very much. Before we introduce our lovely guest, of course, today, let's
say greetings.
Our audience say hi to Ali. Ali Houri.
Yes,
Hi.
our friend
Ali.
Ali Houri. Hello. Great to see you, Ali. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our usual friend, Scott.
Ward, yeah.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Our lovely friend, Aya Fikri.
Aya from
amazing
Egypt.
S&OP community.
Thank you
so much. And our friend, Sharmila.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. We have also our friend Scott.
Yeah, Scott's from Florida. Yes,
Florida, United States. And I'm not sure why it doesn't appear as usual, but
sometimes, for some people it doesn't appear. But thank you for joining us from Indianapolis, USA. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Muhammad from Bangladesh.
Yes, Muhammad from Bangladesh. We have our friend Muhammad Assam.
Hi, Muhammad.
Good evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our lovely friend Priyanka,
Priyanka from
hello
Kuwait.
from Kuwait.
Hi.
Thank you for tuning in. We have great people today, and I see the
Yeah,
traffic
a lot of
because,
engagement.
yeah,
That's great.
because
Great.
we have a great thought leader also in the industry, and
Yes. Mm.
we'll discuss a lot of topics today. We have our friend Muhammad Abdurrahman. Great to see you guys. So let us go into the discussion. Uh, we can promise you that the knowledge that you will have in our show is a knowledge that you will never find in books, a real on ground experience from thought leaders in the industry. And today we will reveal all the success factors behind the successful S&OP. And this is with a very special guest in the S&OP industry. He will take us through his amazing journey and his extensive experience in the S&OP and even the supply chain. Our guest today is Dr. Mudassir Ahmed. Dr. Mudassir Ahmed is the founder of SCMDOJO. His blogs and articles in SCMDOJO are touching a real fact and base on and shows some hands-on experience that you'll never find in books because of his extensive experience. SCM Dojo has more than 90K pages view on a monthly basis and
Oh, I mean,
has like 30K newsletter subscribers. Can you imagine this? SCM Dojo also keeps growing day by day with the giving attitude by Dr. Mudassir Ahmed. Dr. Mudassir Ahmed also has played an end-to-end role and game in the supply chain. Not only that, but also playing it in a very global scale around the world. He is the host of the Supply Chain Show. He was exposed into many different markets and different cultures, which allowed him to be a global thought leader who speaks to inspire and influence in S&OP and his experience in the supply chain. I don't want to move too much because without further more introduction, I'm asking you please to welcome with us Dr. Mudassir Ahmed.
Hello, folks. Assalamu alaikum to everyone.
Wa
Good
alaikum
evening,
assalam.
good afternoon, which part you are. Ahmed, Khalid, my friend, how are you? Ahmed, how are you as well?
yes.
Thank you so
Hello,
much,
hello.
Doctor. Thank
Hello,
you.
doctor.
Great to have
Good,
you
good.
today.
You know,
Pleasure to have you today.
after this introduction, I think I should retire, right? I don't have to work anymore. I think that's it. My life purpose has achieved, right? I've achieved my dream.
Do you know, Doctor? I'm
Doctor,
always
it's not
I
giving you all that you deserve,
yeah,
really, doctor. You deserve
I'm
more than
going.
that with all your efforts. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
I'm
Doctor.
going to Siachen and I'm becoming like a monk anymore. Life purpose is done.
I'm always when I search about anything related to supply chain, that search engine is always taking me to SCM Dojo always, and I found your articles is in the first search in the search engine. So we have
Well
great
done, of
values
course.
today.
Great
Yes,
job. Yes.
great to have you today, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Just
My
to
pleasure.
move into our core discussion, Doctor. The first question that we'll have into our mind that how could S&OP transform companies? I know that you have a great experience in that with
Right.
your global scales. So can you please share with us your experience? How could S&OP transform companies?
Absolutely. So before actually I answer this question, let me give you my compliments to the work both of you gentlemen doing, right? I think you guys doing an
Thanks.
amazing job, and I think you have
Thank you,
picked up
Doc.
a topic which is a real pain point for the industry. And it takes really not just big brain, it actually takes a big heart to find time, put an effort, get the guest in, put a podcast together. Is a genuine, I mean, that's what we
Thank
say,
you,
right?
Doctor.
You have to give some to take some. And what you
Thank
guys
you,
doing
doctor.
is an absolute priceless stuff. So the more the community appreciate you,
Thank
I
you,
think the
Doctor.
better it is for you guys, for us, for everybody. So well done, and
Thank you, Doctor.
congratulations
Pleasure.
for doing an
Thank you so much.
absolutely fantastic job. Right. So now come to your question. I'm going to start answer this question with my two stories actually, which pretty much gonna set the scene, right? So I my first encounter of S&OP when I was a demand planner in 2008, when I was working for a company called Eaton in Birmingham. So American company, they came in, let's deploy the S&OP process. There was no S&OP process before, right? But naturally, everyone wants to. There is always some kind of demand forecasting happening. You want to know what's happening in the business. You're trying to forecast, right? But there was nothing happening in between because we were at that time doing a very famous project for Heathrow Airport and Emirates Airport. And actually, the inventory was there for the wrong parts, the one which we needed, we did not have, right? And it was, nobody knows when the delivery is going, and it was an absolute chaos, right? And we are
Yes.
basically
Yeah.
air freighting parts from India. So the reason actually they hired me even part time, I was doing full time PhD then actually, right? They
Yeah.
needed somebody with the supply chain experience and can speak Hindi or Urdu because of my
Yeah.
background. I can speak the languages, right? So and they were air freighting at that point, believe me or not, 35,000 pounds, like $50,000
Oh my
of
God.
simple component. Really, a simple component which you can make. It's just the height of desperation
C
was
class.
immense,
Yeah.
right? It's absolutely immense. Anyway, so the point is, we said, okay, guys, just get down to the basic. So what is the purpose of S&OP? Right? It's to find the balance between demand and supply, right?
True. Yeah.
Let's understand the demand first. So regardless you are in made to stock business or made to order business or assemble to order business, let's get it done. There is no point looking after 6 months, because 6 months, that's not your, let's call it production lead time, supply lead time. Let's review on a monthly basis and adjust our plans accordingly, right? So just by applying simple principles of managing demand and supply, which S&OP brings, which is the essence of S&OP, then we basically start from a monthly simple demand and supply review, putting some basic graphs together, highlighting the product line or product group or the manufacturing line which has a short of supply, right? And then this is where we put the expedite focus, because you have to expedite. When you're in deep crap, you have to expedite something, right?
Yes.
Then we put our expedite focus and the usual ramp up, ramp down plan, because while you put some product on sea, you have to put some product on the air. So by the time you catch up in 3 months' time, some really basic stuff, right? But it did one thing, because we are in such a deep, desperate situation. It immediately shown a benefit of a demand and supply review. Again, at this point, be very conscious. And I'm not really talking about the 5-step process here. So I'm not talking about let's do the
demand
NPI review.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that, right? I'm not talking about consensus forecast review. I'm not talking about executive review. I'm basically talking the second step. So just to very quickly for the audience, I assume everybody knows. You have the 5-step process. You can pick any book, any picture, but the essence is same, right? You start from your NPI statistical forecast. You talk about your product group, product line, then your demand review, which is unconstrained demand. Then you have supply review to come up with your constrained forecast. Then you align with finance to have a consensus focus, and then executive review. So we are basically right now talking about only two sections, right? Demand and supply, and that has immediately brought in reduction in air freight cost, improvement on lead time, better management of on-time delivery performance, and less chaos and less stress, right? I mean, I can go on, but this is what S&OP brings. Even if you do not deploy to the full level, it still can bring a lot of benefits, right? And very quickly, I can touch base on another story. So that is 2008-9. Of course, I got developed in Eaton. I become a materials manager, supply chain manager, and I was in electrical business. I came to Dubai, worked here for a few years. Then I went to USA, worked there as well. So I become like a blue Eaton blood person. In 2012, they acquired a company of $250 million. And it was an SME of 3, actually it was like 4 manufacturing sites. But very important because they were supplying to big OEMs like Caterpillar or Rolls-Royce, right? Big OEMs, right? And actually, they sold this business to Danfoss, so part of Danfoss now. And when I went there, because to deploy system and processes, and it was chaos again. The lead time was like 16 months. Inventory was 9 days. On-time delivery was like 62%.
Oh my God.
Yeah, ridiculously bad. So high inventory, high lead time, low on-time delivery. So again, we start from a very basic training of an S&OP process. So start really from the shop floor to the planners, even to the management level. Basic training of S&OP, guys. This is how you run the review. This is the agenda. This is the input. This is the output. And most importantly, we get engaged the product line and the sales guys, because they were the biggest problem to start with.
Yes.
So I did not focus on my team, on the operations guys, because it was easy to manage, right? The guys I actually focus on driving change, and I'm sure we'll talk about change management, is actually the sales and marketing folks, because they are the ones who needs to bring in the right focus. Because I'm not talking to a customer, right? I'm a supply chain guy. I'm sitting in my office, right? I need to know what's happening in the marketplace. So these are 2 stories. A bad one, which I have. So 18 months down the line, the same plant has actually won an award of operational excellence. Only
Wow.
18 months. So on-time delivery was 95%, inventory was half, lead
Wow.
time gone from months into weeks. It's gone to 15 weeks.
Great.
Right. So we were even actually so agile that customers are saying, guys, you are doing it too quickly. We are not ready for that. Right.
Wow.
So that is hands-on experience. And when I do my training, as Ahmed just said, my blog, I have a S&OP course as well online, which you can go into SCMDOJO select courses. So that's available in my training as well. So by all means, you can have a look, or you can just ask me right now. Same thing.
Great, amazing experience, and I love the two stories. If you just allow me just to add something also in the S&OP side. So because most people, they think that S&OP is only supply chain and just looking into that upstream side. I believe that if we can imagine S&OP, it's like a bridge between the business strategy and the business needs and business plan and the day-to-day operations. And if we can put it under many pillars, I would say the people, how you will collaborate all people on one table and discuss their future plan from the marketing point of view and from the sales input and from even the supply chain input. If I talk also maybe the second step, it's all about the technology and what are the softwares that you're using it in the second phase for sure. I do remember your blogs, doctor, about people. Everything inside the S&OP, it's all about people. But I'm saying that these are the pillars. So people and technology, how you can make use of technology to help your people, not just to put more constraints above them, because people or executives, they got overwhelmed that we need to have the digitalize everything, we need to have everything, but it's all about the values, why you're doing this, how you will make use of the technology to serve your people inside the S&OP and don't constrain their life. So technology and people and the process and the collaboration, this is S&OP. If I can speak like thousands of years on that point also, because if you go into the tactical level and the agendas and the meetings, we will take thousands of years discussing this. So the only thing that will turn the dreams of the business into reality, it's S&OP. And I like what you said, it's the balance between a service level, how what is your service level needed, and how much you can optimize with your stocks. And this is I imagine it like a beam. So the service level, and here is the inventory level, and between it, it's the S&OP. It will balance all of this. Yeah.
Perfectly said, Ahmed. And I like also what Doctor said. We have to touch base with marketing and sales. These are the people that we are going to collaborate.
Yeah.
These are our eyes in the market. They have the experience. They connect with the distributors, with the customers. And this is as we get closer to the customer, we know the demand will be more accurate, and we will get more better insights from the market. This is what we need to touch from the market. So as doctor said, it's easier to work with the people in the operation because they are days on hand to hand, and you can get all the information from the production people. And of course, we need to align to the vision, and we'll get to that, and how we can bridge between the corporate strategy and the day-to-day operation. So great answer and great stories, doctor. And amazing, really.
Yes. So can I come back to our audience, please? Because they let's say greetings for them. So we have our friend Muhammad Fauzi. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for joining, Muhammad.
Our friend Ayafekri is she's saying congratulations. I do believe because of the podcast. Thank you so much. We have our friend Amina. Hello together. Thank you so much.
Hi, Amina.
Thank you. We have our friend Tausif. Thank you so much for tuning in, brother. We have also our friend Rian. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Muhammad Hassan
from Saudi.
Thank you so much. Our lovely friend Diana. She's
Diana from Ireland.
From Ireland, for sure. Yes. Our friend Hussein. He's saying hello. Our also friend and the famous Ahmed Musa from Egypt, our friend. Yeah, we have too many people. We have too many people. Heba Abdel Fattah. Thank you so much. I think that Heba, she subscribed. Thank you, Heba, for subscription. So anybody will subscribe. Please say it in the comment. Just write it in the comment that it's subscribed. Thank you so much. Okay, coming back
Let's
to
take what if we take the first question, Ahmed? Do you want to take a question from audience or we continue? Because I see one question here from Ahmed Osama. It's
Ahmed
nice
Hussein.
one.
Okay, so just for the sake of the time, let's
Yeah,
jump into quickly into our questions.
yeah.
Okay, Ahmed.
Ahmed Osama, how we can digitalize S&OP meeting?
Ah, good question.
Yeah.
Ahmad, what do you want to do? You want me to take first, or you do?
Yeah,
Do you have a
for sure, doctor.
Please, doctor, go ahead and we'll do it together. Yeah, let's
All
go
right, all right,
for
all
you.
right. So it's a very, very good question, right? Okay, so I'm gonna answer it in two phases actually. So the real question actually is the question before that. At what point you can think about digitalizing your
Digitalizing,
business,
yes.
right? Okay, so this is a question comes before it. So let me give you easy answer first, which is if you're already at the mature stage and there is a SNOP assessment which I have prepared. Again, you can go to my blog tools, you can find it.
Mm.
You can do some basic assessment of your process and you will know in as a percentage how mature you are. So if you hit 80% of, let's call it, uh, agenda items of SNOP, then you are in a mature state. And if you're still running SNOP in Excel and you're running for last 18 months, then it got very tedious, right? You Microsoft Access, you're pulling data, history, product line, it get messy. So my advice is if you're mature, if you have a sustainable SNOP and you basically too much data to handle in Lexis, by all means go and digitalize. I still have not answered your question. How? I come back and answer that question again, right? The how part. But the real question is do this assessment first, right? So do not go all
Mm.
guns blazing, go and spend €500,000 on a piece of kit which you do not have a basic mature SNOP process.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a
Spot on.
recipe for disaster, and I've seen it time and time again. People have gone in because there's a clever demand planner in the business says, oh, I need this piece of kit. They've gone ahead, they spend €500,000, and guess what, that only one person know how to use it. And this guy left, and in most cases the company who actually sold the software hired him because he's a very good guy, right? Right. And for that reason they have nobody to run that, and then it goes down the floor. So the step is this: let's mature the process, start with Excel, embed into the culture, go through the
Yeah,
change management process, see the result, and then digitalize. Okay, now how to digitalize? There's quite a few tools available. The one I actually work very closely is Blue Yonder. For me, they
Yeah,
are the place, the people to go. I work with them closely. I have used the tool, and they have very smart SNOP grid available, right? Very smart. You can do multi-echelon planning. You can do multiple scenarios, multiple warehouses, multiple sources. Pretty cool. Of course, they are expensive, but they're worth it. Now there's also O9 coming up, and for me they are like they are Mercedes, but they want to sell themselves as Bentley, right? So
yeah,
it's by the by, right? So I've tried to use. They tried to wear. I did not buy it because I want to pay price of Mercedes for a Mercedes. I don't want to pay a Bentley price, right? Similarly, there are I think Kpis is also there, right? But there are
yes,
few other players is also there, and you have my cheap and cheerful super smart Excel spreadsheet if you want to use. So that's also there, right? The point is you got it's almost like cars, right? You can buy something cheap
yeah.
and you can buy something expensive, depend what your budget is, right? So I give you few brand names which will help you digitalize. Okay, so that's my take on it. Ahmed, over to you guys.
For sure, you spotted on, Doctor. Uh, I believe that I like what you said. It's all about how you can assess the maturity of your S&OP. Firstly, you don't jump into just the digitalization and don't jump. What is the aim from this? Because I see many companies they are amazing in reporting, but when it comes to take actions and take just convert this data into information and information into insights and insights into wisdom that they can use this for helping their business and their business strategy, they are very good in just the reporting. But the game now don't keep the focus only in digitalizing. Just focus on the people firstly. And when it comes to digitalizing, I believe that if I'm talking about meetings, if I'm talking about the agendas itself, you have to take it into many steps. So you have to digitalize what is needed, and inside the S&OP, especially in executive S&OP, how you can make an easy steps, just to very, very obvious for the KPIs or the targets of the company itself. This is one of the steps. This is the first level executive, and you can take it into digitalizing also, and in a mid, or I would say senior management steps. What are the KPIs and what are the core focus in the tactical level? And at the end of the day, I believe that you don't need to digitalize anything regarding this, because the ERP, I believe, for most companies, they can take the responsibility on the operational level, because how you will connect your forecasting, your DRP, your MPS and master scheduling, then MPS, then MRP, then your procurement. So all
I,
of this in the
yeah.
operational level. That's why.
I like, yes,
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
it here, Ahmed, what you're saying, because most of the companies, they have an ERP, which, like Doctor was saying, it's like a Mercedes or a Ferrari, and they're using
yeah.
it as a bicycle. They are not using or making use of the ERP
Yes.
system that they have, whether it's Oracle, it's SAP. It has a lot of uses and a lot of things that you can use and make use of, that can work also for the S&OP. So before also digitalizing and spending money on any software or anything, make use of whatever you have the resources that you have in hand first. And as Doctor said, which is amazing, the level of
Yeah,
maturity of the supply chain,
yeah,
the level of maturity of the company. Do you have a vision of the company? Does it know where it's going? The company, does it have a strategy or not? Are they following
yeah.
this strategy? Is this strategy going from one echelon to another? Do the people on the ground know what's the strategy of the company, or they're just working like that day to day,
Day to day.
passing the day? So it's the culture of the company, as the doctor was saying, a lot of to be discussed, and a lot of things to be answered before going to digitalize. And of course, when going to digitalize, you should check first whatever you have, the ERP system. Then, if everything is like settled or something, you can go for the a lot. Of course, the doctor is well
Yeah,
experienced. He gave a lot of good examples of the
yeah.
softwares also.
So I'm always using this technique for any decision.
Mm.
It's what is the cost and what is the benefit.
Benefit,
So
yeah.
in terms the benefit, maybe it will be tangible or intangible. Even the intangible things, you have to make it realistic. You have to ask yourself the right questions to find the right answers. So whenever it comes to have more expenses or just have investment or anything, ask yourself these questions: what is the cost and benefits, and what are the tangible and intangible things? By this view, you will be able to take the right decisions. I will jump into the next question.
Audience
From,
are
yes,
giving us, yeah, good.
yes, we have our friend Amina. She is asking Dr. Mudassir, is it possible to reflect S&OP in BI tool?
Which BI tool? I mean, are we talking about the Power
Power
BI
BI
or
or what?
Power
Yeah.
BI,
which
I
one,
believe.
right? So,
Tableau,
Mm.
maybe.
so let's take Power BI, right?
Okay.
But so the okay, I'm not a Power BI expert, but I've used Power BI as a user, so I'm gonna give you my answer with my limited knowledge, right? What I find about using Power BI, it's almost like a love child of Access and Microsoft Access,
Yeah.
right? Which is born into a more or less call it a cloud space, right? So it's pretty smart, but the theory of, again, you have to find the right files, right databases, you have to develop queries, and you have to link queries. So the basic let's call it the thought process of creating a good grid of Power BI is coming from that knowledge. So, but nothing wrong with that. I'm okay with this, right? So that's fine. But does it make it smart enough? Unless you are using the Microsoft the ERP system, right?
Yes.
You're not going to benefit of it, right? So if you're using SAP, again, you have to get the data out of SAP,
Yeah.
then you have to create your
Yes.
Power BI grid, and then
Exactly.
you have to do whatever you need to do. Is it any different from Excel? Yeah, maybe, because Power BI grids and the graphs and the analytics are pretty smart and
Exactly.
Yes.
pretty
Yeah.
smoother. You can do better slice and dice. You can do better analytics, you can basically create better scenarios, right? Okay, so it's definitely a bit more steroids than Access and Excel, right? The answer of that is yes, but does it really automate your process? Probably not, because you still have to go through.
Semi-automated. Yeah.
Exactly, semi-automated. That's the better word Ahmed just said, right? So you still have to
Yes.
go through the pain of downloading the data, create your database and queries.
Yeah, yeah. Great answer, Doctor.
Perfect
Thank
answer.
you.
Also.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. Let's move into the
Again, quoting Ahmed Khalidea and the other Ahmed, the knowledge you will not find in books.
yeah, that's right. Based on hands
Based on
experience.
experience, yeah,
Yes,
because I
15 years
share
of
with you, I share with you because I worked also in it for some time. The Power BI, it's the same feeling like what you said. It's like semi-automated. It gives you better maybe analytics, and it's I always say it depends on what you enter in the ERP system, whether it's SAP.
Yeah.
If you're entering good data, you'll get some good analytics. If you're entering, like we say, always garbage in, garbage out. If you're entering garbage data, you'll not get
Yes,
what you
yes.
want.
Maybe I like
So
what
you
you
need
said.
to
It's
cleanse the
same.
data. Yes.
Yes, it's semi-automated. The only thing that maybe I'm thinking of, which is whatever the ERP system is feeding you with the output or the transactions that you want to have, and what are the data that you want to present in your Power BI or whatever Tableau that you're using it. So the game here is how you integrate the data in an automated way, which that you want to take the run or the transaction at which time, and what are the data needed, how it looks like, and all of this. If you want to have it, I believe that you can make it semi-automated, but at the same time you can feed it directly through macros, through whatever you can do it in Excel, and then you can build it into your Power BI. But I say that if you know the transactions, and if you know the output or the data that you want to present, for instance, if you want to have the service level, if you want to have the inventories, how it looks like, so mapping all the data by transaction and automated through macro, maybe it will be automated fully for you. But at the end of the day, asking the same question: are you using this for reporting or for taking actions? This is the big difference.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll jump into the next question, if you allow us. We have our friend Hussein Al Tawil. He's asking, what are the best methodologies to be followed for S&OP?
Okay, best methodologies. Okay, I mean, S&OP itself is a methodology of a kind, right? Developed about 3 decades ago by Oliver White, and it has been developed further by several researchers. Now they call it IBP and all that, but it goes from the same logic.
Yeah.
The only thing is that in IBP you have a better integration of financial analysis and better link with the strategy, right? But essentially it's just more expansion of S&OP. So actually I have a blog on S&OP versus ICP. You can see that, but the basic is S&OP, right? But I think your more question is around what would be the, let's call it, best practices, or let's call it success factors, right? And this is one of the theme I think we meant to talk about, Ahmed. So shall we talk about that right now?
Yes,
for sure.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yes.
Right. So, and then I'm going to touch base on this, and this is where you will probably not going to find a lot of information in the books, but coming from experience. And I have deployed S&OP in 4 different countries in 3 different businesses over the 15 years, and believe me or not, I have seen all that very much in common, right? The first and the foremost is either a lack of executive sponsorship or the huge focus on executive sponsorship.
Yes.
But it's a bit of cliche, this word of executive sponsorship, because if you pick any management study, Six Sigma, Lean, Theory of Constraint,
CPM, WCM,
everyone say what is the critical success factors. The first line in any research
executive sponsorship.
But having said that, in S&OP it plays a huge role, and I have noticed a very good example myself and a very bad example. There was example. I don't want to name the managers and the business because it's not right. But anybody who knows me, probably they know which 2 people I'm talking to, right? The guy he was a senior director, come from operations background, hardcore ops guy. He wouldn't move. He cannot make a decision about S&OP. If the S&OP meeting is not happening, he said, "Don't talk to me right now. Don't come to my office. please make sure this is discussed in SNOP, everybody's aligned, and then I'll make a decision on my executive call. So everybody was attending the meeting, everyone basically doing the preparation. It was embedded in the culture, right? So SNOP was the heartbeat of the business. SNOP was so good that SNOP was driving next year budget. So this whole budgeting chaos during some of the time, let's do 2022 budget, which is mostly happening right now, 2023.
Right now.
We didn't have to worry about it because SNOP have N+18 forecast available.
Exactly.
That's the budget.
Yeah.
Exactly. End of discussion, right? Why you worry about that?
Yeah.
On the other hand, and me, same job. I'm a supply chain director, logistics director. My job is to drive SNOP as a key stakeholder. Come to a second business, trying to do the same thing. People are engaged. Everybody's engaged, but there's one person not engaged, the executive person. And because of that, he came from a sales background. The only thing he's interested, just tell me I'm going to hit my sales number or not. I really don't need to know anything else. And after 6 months, it was so dead, I cannot even tell you.
No.
And it's and for someone like me who actually preaches and teaches SNOP for living, and I'm embarrassed to say, I couldn't convince him. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I gave up. I don't give up generally.
It happens. It happens.
So I tried to do change management, benefit, all that, but the guy was just not into it. And guess what happened? My SNOP process and my drive didn't change. He was changed after 12 months. So the person who's actually gone was him. All the SNOP process. So any executive who is not really paying attention to SNOP, think it through as well, right? That's my first advice. But before I move to my further points, you want to say something, gentlemen? Please add.
Yeah, I wanted to share with you the same experience because I was running almost, we have the same experience. Maybe you have 2-3 years experience more. I run it also through 2-3 companies, and I have the same experience. Yeah, I had a manager who was he introduced it like an executive, and he introduced taking the company from good to great and a new vision for the company, and everybody was memorizing what's the vision, understanding where we want to go, and he drive that everyone should attend the S&OP, and the decision should come from the S&OP. It was a huge success. It was a huge success to everybody, and reaching the top and bottom lines and all that. At the same time, like you said, when it's driven with someone who's looking only for the numbers, are we achieving the numbers or not, or this is what I really want to see, it falls down, and people will start to lose attention because it is not the core of the company. So it's all about the culture, and it's really, like you said, it's not a cliche, but really makes a big difference. If there is no sponsorship from the top head management, it will fall apart. So I second your voice here.
The business eventually will start to bleed in every time, because I believe that change, I'm always saying this, that change is coming top down. It will never come bottom up like the forecast. So everything should become from the executives or the board directors. If these people, they don't have the buy-in, I'm telling you, you will keep bleeding, and you will always swimming in the opposite waves. So you will be annihilated under these waves. So you will drain your energy, and I know that we are all passionate about it, but this is the reality. You're dealing with people. If people, they are not convinced about that, it will never work. That's why I say, exceptions, it will be there. But the attitude and mindset of accepting that S&OP will change your business to the next level in terms of balancing the demand and supply, inventories, and unlocking some potential in your service level and your top line sales. If you think like that, this is the perfect way. And if there is any exceptions, you can manage it inside the S&OP. But rather just, I know this, that every day you have exceptions. It's out of the S&OP. This is not S&OP. So sponsorship, again, from the executives and top management is the key focus and the key success for having a real S&OP that transforms the business. Yeah.
We have another good question. I can
Good,
see
good.
a lot of good
So,
questions.
good. Shall we take question because I have few more points. So shall I go through my few
Yeah,
points and we take questions?
go
What do
ahead.
you
Sure,
think?
sure,
Go ahead.
sure, sure,
Sure,
sure, sure.
Right.
Dr.
So
Sure.
again, because I'm going to cover few, 3, 4 more points.
Yeah,
Again, it's
yeah,
important you guys can capture it on a video, and I'm sure it will be available somewhere.
yes.
And then we'll take questions. By all
Sure.
means, evening I've got time. If it is take, I don't know about Ahmed's, both of them, but I've got time. We can stay longer if you want, right? So, but coming back to the second, I'm going to combine second and third point. So, second point for me, I have is this lack of S&OP knowledge on a
Mhm.
cross-functional teams, right? So
Yes.
S&OP is not a, first of all, as I said, the S&OP is not a supply chain process. So get it out, right? It's
Yeah.
a business process, right?
Yes.
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 We supply chain people run it great because we are the we
Unbiased.
are like octopus. We have a fingers in every pie,
Mm.
right? But we are the drivers for it. But it's not a supply chain process. It's a business
Mm.
process. So everyone needs to understand this. And again, I like the starting of this podcast where you say we are trying to basically engage more sales and marketing team and everybody else and even finance. And
Yeah.
actually, when the good example I gave before, where the S&OP was embedded in the business because the VP was engaged. My S&OP meeting is attended by HR director. The reason he
Wow.
Yes.
used to come, the
Wow.
reason he used to come because he knows that if we are going a third shift, we are hiring more people in summer, or we are laying off more
Yeah.
people. So
Yes.
he can
Perfect.
really do the planning, right? He can get
Great.
involved in hiring more people, because in
Yeah.
UK, hiring a third shift in the evening is not that easy. You have to go through some
Yeah.
regulation.
Mm.
So he used to come in the executive review just to gather that information, right?
Mm.
Brilliant. So,
Mhm.
and then he came to me one day saying, "Mod, I attend this meeting. I find it very useful, mate. Can you explain me what is this S&OP?" So I have to give him
Yes.
like a real quick class on it. The point is, our job as an S&OP leaders in the business is to make sure the basic knowledge of S&OP is being understood. Again, I've got a
Yeah.
lot of content on my blog. As I mentioned, keep mentioning, I have a course. It's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Go and get it. Follow Ahmad or hire Ahmad as well. I mean, they are coachable. We can have them go.
So,
Right.
doctor, if you allow us, if after this,
Yeah,
if you can put the link for all of these courses or all of
yeah,
this in
Yes,
the,
please.
it will be
Yeah.
helpful for the
There will
people.
be a lot of great usefulness for all our
sure,
audience, of
sure.
course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
We'll do that. We'll do that. But
we
then
have a
I'm going
great.
to follow this with the third
Sure.
Mm.
point is S&OP is actually an advanced level process in supply chain. But get your basic S&OP processes right. So what I mean by basic, you cannot run S&OP without ABC analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving an example. You
Yes.
got to get your ABC analysis right to run your S&OP. You got to have a basic inventory management process there to run S&OP. You got to have a basic, let's call it purchase order or work order management process. So if you can't
Yeah.
get your basic S&OP process right, you can't run S&OP because the basis and the pillars of supply chain should be there, right? So get your basic supply chain processes right, then you can build on it. So this is the second
Yeah.
example. The
Great.
third the third part I want to mention is, sorry, fourth one is this: there's no shortcut to success.
Mhm.
S&OP by its nature is a cyclic process, right? Is a
Yeah.
month. It takes time. You start, you
Learning. Mm.
train, and it's iterative. It gets better. The focus gets better. Review your supply planning gets better. Your discussion gets better. Your presentation gets better because when you start, the graphs are that small, nobody can read it, and there's a lot of text. And then after a few months, you say, no, just keep few graphs, big text, decision making. Use S&OP as a decision making. So the point is, there's no quick, there's no, it's a marathon, not a race, right? It just
Mm.
takes time. And in my experience, it takes a minimum 18 months, maximum 3 years to
Mm.
get to the maturity level, right?
Yeah.
That's I would say is this. Just to finish off, it's focus on more on execution. So don't worry about the initial hiccups, etc.
Mm.
Make sure you stick with it. Like any good things in life, you have to stick with it, right?
Mhm.
And the last advice I would give, especially this for young demand planners or young supply chain managers, experienced folks know this as well. Don't turn up into SNP meeting without preparation. So if you're
Yeah.
putting a graph up there, right,
Mhm.
you should know the legends are there, the XY columns are there, the data is there. People can read the graph. And most importantly,
Yeah.
you should know if somebody says, "Oh, I can see that," and there, if I compare from previous years, your sales, your inventory is down. What is the reason? What happened? You should know. You should
Yeah.
know. You can't
Yeah,
put a graph in and the data without knowing what. Then, if you don't know the answer, you lose credibility. You lose credibility
exactly.
on the slide. You
Yes.
lose credibility on the process, and you lose credibility of S&OP. Right. So
Yeah.
start with few small things, baby steps, build credibility, be consistent, be competent, and it will be fine.
Great, great, great
Amazing,
values.
amazing
I
points.
like how we put it in, Doctor.
Yes.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for the valuable answer. I think that we have a great question here,
Mm.
and it will show how much really experience that we all have in this point. So, our friend Priyanka, she's asking any tips to have more accurate baseline so that we have more reliable forecast post pandemic. It's a very nice question. I love this question.
All right. Okay,
Yeah,
Ahmed Khalid, I have a question. Are you sure we got all everybody on this call are 18 years and above, right? We got all adult people. Yeah?
yeah, yeah.
I'm about, and it's after 9 o'clock, right? So about,
Maturity.
yeah, maturity level is there, right? I don't want to get into
Yeah.
trouble, right? I have a saying. I have a actually it's gone viral on LinkedIn. Believe me or not, I don't know if you've seen it. So
Mm.
I say this: forecasting is like making love. Everybody does it, but nobody knows what's the best technique, right? Right. Right. So, and everybody thinks we are bloody good in making love as well, but you're not really sure because it depends on the partner, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to answer that with this. Okay, more accurate forecast. I mean, what I'm going to say, the forecast is your history is the best reflection of the forecast, right?
Yeah.
There's a famous saying from Warren Buffett, actually, the second or third richest guy. He said, forecasting tells you less about the future, but more about the person or a business doing it. Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to repeat this.
Mm.
It's a very
Mm.
nice quote, actually.
Yes.
Forecasting tells you less about the future and but tells you more about the person and the business doing it. Right. So it's what is your history and how you
Mm.
create your baseline and how good your base data is. It's there, right? You can use a simple Excel or any forecasting software which could have, I don't know, 260 algorithms, and it will
Yeah.
pick best fit method. To
Yeah.
be fairly honest, I don't mind. You can use Excel formula in Excel, or you can use Demand Pro or Demantra or
Mm.
whatever software. It is going to be wrong, right?
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. Whatever baseline you're gonna pick, it's going to be wrong. But what is important here is wrong means it will have an error, right? But
Yeah.
what differentiate between
Reduce
a
error.
good forecast, an acceptable forecast, and a good forecast versus a bad one is how low is your error,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So the focus on reducing an error, and I've seen a couple of video Ahmed has done before on forecast bias, and I would recommend people to go and watch what Ahmed has done, right? He has
Thank you.
explained very nicely on the forecast error and how to maintain it, how to improve it, right? So
Mm.
again, Ahmed Khalid, watch this video. It's there. It's
Th-
pretty cool.
th- yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you,
yeah, please
Doctor.
go.
Sure. So, if you allow me, I'll share something also from a hands-on experience, especially in the baseline, and I will talk about the FMCG industry, especially. So, when it comes to generating the baseline, I'll tell you one of the biggest pain points when it comes to generating the baseline. It's the cleaning of the data. You have
Yes.
by default you have the total history and the total sales. This is something you are sure of because this is the invoicing of the company. This is the P&L of the company. But when it comes to have the data or the drivers that took these sales to that level, what were the promotional intensity? What were the activities that have this incremental sales in your sales? Was it like 50% off? Was it like 20% off? Was it value pack? Was it all of these activities? Even there are some activities that takes your sales into the next level. It's in store. It's not necessarily to be out of store, or it's not necessary to be the discount itself. So what I'm saying here, one of the biggest pain points is getting the historical activities that you can build it up. For instance, let's say that I have all the history for the 12 month. One of the pain points, what will happen is you have the sales, and when you plug in the data for the promotions, sometimes you will see that the promotions, because of the phasing of the promotion history, which is not right, data which you have, it's not right. What will happen is that the promotional intensity, it's higher than the sales, so it will give you like negative baseline. So first thing that you need to do to have a real baseline, try to clean your data. If you have doubted data right now, I'm telling you, stop. Don't think about what happens in the past. Think about about the future. How you can fix your process right now. How can you take it into the next level? How the order to cash is working? How you are promoting this, and how the reconciliation, financial reconciliation, it comes with your distributor. I'm not sure about the distributor model or the route to market that you're using it, but all of this, you have to clean the data, understand the activities, understand the buildup. Once you have this, you will have the baseline. I answered you from the baseline effect. So I'm talking about the post pandemic. So for post pandemic, yeah, I know that the trends, and even especially the consumer behavior and shopper behavior,
Changed.
has totally changed. So the first thing that you have to understand, don't look at it, and especially I'm talking about the FMCG, or if a company is working with a distributor, they are running their baseline from the sell-in, which is from the distributor to the retailer. The first thing that you have to understand it, do the baseline from the retailer to the shopper. By this way, you will understand, and take it a step further, because the baseline, the difference between the baseline in the sell out and the difference between the baseline on the sell in is the trade stocks. So all of that, just build up the baseline on the sell out. You will understand what's happening from the trade side, what's happening with the shopper or the consumer side, and from that you will understand what will be the effect in your baseline from distributor to retailer. By this way, you can anticipate it and expect what's happening. Build this again. I will say it. Build the right data, put it in the right way, track the right promotions. If you have something in the history doesn't make sense, then look at it from the downstream side, which is from the retail to the shopper. This is what I would say from hands-on experience.
100%. I cannot add, of course, what the beautiful things that you said, of course, but the more we get closer to the consumer, the more accurate the forecast. So this is very important. That will be either electronic data interface, you will
Yeah,
be
point of sale.
directly to the retailer. Some we're working on collaborative planning, forecasting, and replenishment with the direct to the retailer, which is also depending on the level of maturity of the organization. All this collaboration, of course, and closer to the customer, it will make you the forecast more accurate. And as Ahmed and Dr. Mudassir said, remove the outliers, clean the data, make sure that there is no the coding system is correct, because sometimes the coding
Yes.
there is problem with the code, so it distorts everything. So all these kind of things will really help in building a more reliable
Yeah,
forecast.
yeah. Thank you. I
Great
think
question.
that,
Of course, it
yeah,
will
we
take
have
us
many
hours maybe to
questions.
discuss, and we have many questions. Let's take like couple, and if we cannot catch, we will answer
We have
maybe
to
me or the doctor
we
or
have to have
something before we wrap up.
another one.
No,
Yeah,
no, we'll do it
another
again. We'll
session.
do it again. Don't worry
Yes,
about that.
yes.
So we have our friend Ayub Saidi. He's saying that applying 5S philosophy is also a good way to drive cultural transformation when it comes to SOP implementation or digitalization. Don't you think so? I think that, yeah, doctor, you had this article on the 5S especially. I read it before.
I
Yeah.
will
And
soon.
I'm
Yeah,
going to see, I'm one of those people, I try to be honest with my advice. I'm not always right. So
Mm.
yeah.
judgment is out. So I'm going to break your heart by saying the 5S philosophy got nothing to do with S&OP. Not
Yeah.
as I know, right? So the five, if I don't know anybody who's been to Japan and knows that, I've been fortunate enough to work for a Japanese company and go there.
Mm.
It's almost like a cultural thing there, right? So
Mm.
5S, the sword, shine, all this sort of
Standardized.
stuff, standardize, all that is in Japanese culture, right? Let me
Mm.
give you example to show you the mindset. I was on a train going from Tokyo to other city, and there was two seats empty, and the metro was full, and the two seats for disabled people. And me being a rough Asian dude from even in England, you don't care. You just sit on a disabled seat because it's there. I just happened to sit down, and everybody look at me like I almost killed somebody, right? And
Yeah.
then my Japanese colleague says, never do that, right? It's
Mm.
against the culture and the values. It's about
Yes.
discipline. So 5S is about discipline. And actually, in one thing I really like when I learned working for a Japanese company said, your factories should be 5S enough that you can take to a customer at any time that you want.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so 5S is all about the discipline of sort, shine, standardize is how you basically manage your workspace, because that's like a basics of improvement. So there's a basics of continuous improvement. Can I relate that theory of 5S on lead management to S&OP? Not 5S for sure. Maybe pull, or maybe tag time. We
lean
can link
thinking.
back to S&OP. But I mean, 5S as a philosophy, you can say that. I mean, if you can say 5S philosophy can apply on a data, of course you can, right? Your data, as Ahmed already said, make sure your data is clean, is out of outliers, it's standardized. You can
Yes.
apply the 5S philosophy like that. I think you use the word definitely, but can you apply 5S as a tool in S&OP?
Yeah.
Not that I've seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you, Doctor, so much.
Perfect answer.
Yeah, it's amazing. Let's jump. We'll try to cover as many
More
questions as we
questions.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, because we have too many questions. We have our friend Ahmed Osama is asking, if I need to assign a team for S&OP meeting, what are the number of team members and their roles and responsibility? Briefly at the point, and sorry for asking more. Man, feel free. We
Ahmed,
are here to
great
serve.
questions, by the
Yeah,
way. And he's asking questions to the point.
it's
Yeah.
amazing
It
question.
is
Yeah.
one of the, I mean, all questions are good questions. There's no better
Yeah.
question, but this is a smart question. I like this
Yeah.
one. Okay, so I'll take this one. So
Please.
I say, I'm going to give you example to answer this question, right? So I go into the businesses, and when I have to transform a supply chain, of course, S&OP is definitely one of the transformational processes and the change management processes, right? But then I only always ask for one thing. So the plant I went, which I give you example, was in disaster, and then I was moved my company after acquisition. And the first thing I said, there is no demand planner. I need one demand planner, a specialized. So demand planning is a specialized position, right? You cannot simply pick a planner or a supply planner or any guy with good Excel spreadsheet make a demand. No, you cannot do that, because demand planner is a person who is talking to the sales guys, who's talking to the product line guys, talking to the operations guys, try to get a sense of it. And so when I hire a demand planner, and I hired 3 young graduates, and all 3 of them are now supply chain managers, and one of them is actually a
Wow.
senior procurement manager.
Yeah.
And I hired not for their analytical skills. I hired actually more because of 2 things I see. I see strong communication in the people and strong leadership skills. Because
Great.
those people, so combine their analytical skills, because they come from fresh uni, with their good communication they need to coordinate with people and get the data and all that, and the good leadership skills, because they're just not waiting for me to tell them what to do. You tell them a process, they follow. And what happened is I work in this company 8 and 12 years. I had 4 promotions, right, in this 10
Wow.
12 years, and every time my company never have to hire somebody from outside. The reason being, the demand planner, who was like, if you in a terms of football, is like a central midfielder. It's like Xavi of Barcelona, right?
Yeah. That was fair. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you need a Xavi who is a
Yes.
captain, strong leader, passing the ball. So when I move to a new job, I already have a person who knows the business, who knows the market, good leader, good communication. The only thing I need to do is to teach him how to manage people, right? And that
Yeah.
person is there. So that's person for me. You talk about R&R, right? So that person needs to be there, right,
Yeah.
to run your S&OP as a facilitator.
Yeah.
But one
Yes.
thing, and there's always a good sales guy. They love to talk a lot, BS a lot, but that's cool. But one thing you also need in operations, there's a guy who should understand your capacities better,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? And I generally find a good industrial engineer who's not a product. Don't pick a production guy, because production guy got no clue. They only manage people and they find problems, right? But that's their job. But find a good industrial engineer who understands your machines, your bottlenecks, your machine testing capacity, your assembly capacity, and then they can tell you from this many hours, that many people, you can produce that much.
Yeah.
Because one of the
Excellent.
problems I've seen in manufacturing, because I'm a hardcore manufacturing guy, is finding that exact knowledge, that how many you can produce in how many people and how much time by how many machines, right?
Yeah.
So from the roles and responsibilities, even though that kind of person will never gonna work for you as a supply chain director manager, that person never generally works for you, because they work for manufacturing or lean organization or operations, shall say. But be friend with that guy, right?
Yeah.
Bring him close, get him into the S&OP
Yeah.
key person list.
Yes.
Second, third one, I would say, if you really want to be successful in S&OP in roles and responsibility, find a friend in finance community. Actually, I have a
Yes.
blog where I've written, why be friends with finance, because those friends, because the thing is, if you're reducing inventory, if you're reducing air freight, if you're reducing improving on-time delivery, you are making an impact on P&L. And SNOP
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
process by theory promises to make an impact on P&L. I mean, I can talk about myself. I never studied finance, but it took me 12 years to get better at it, because we
Yeah.
don't generally study P&L or balance sheet, right?
Yeah.
But learn that. But if you have a but you can claim stuff, right? But you still need a
Yeah.
finance guys to stamp on your improvement, right? And
Yes.
bring them to fold, and then you can basically achieve the utopia of SNOP, where you can combine your sales forecast with your financial forecast, your inventory forecast, and life is good, right? So it's all about finding the right people into the right functions
Yeah.
and make
Yes.
friends with them.
Exactly. I like what you put it on all, doctor. And based on our experience, even consulting, when we consult people, what's happening here? Don't when you have this at the beginning of maturity of S&OP, when it comes to maturity, uh, you have to have a steering committee at the beginning, and the steering committee that you have to specify one of each function and organization inside the company. For instance, you have to have vote for one from finance, one from marketing, one from trade marketing, one from supply chain, one from sales, and these people will drive the change. And again, when you specifically when you come and select these people, I'm telling you, don't select it. I'm telling you based on experience. Don't select these people based on experience, based on their passion, based on they want to give, they want to do something. Experience, they will have it along the way because they will drive the change. So don't just fall in the trap that we will select the most experienced people, because most probably the most experienced people, they will resist. I'm telling you from experience. So based on
100%. Yes.
on a
Yes.
fresh mind, that they can drive a real change inside the S&OP, and they can feed the S&OP and the executives with the right information.
Yes, these will be the main drivers of the pre-S&OP meetings, who will get the suggestions and the areas that need the decision making, the trade-offs between the risks and opportunities, and this kind of things that they will give to the executives for the final sign off of the plan. So
Yeah.
yes, pick them. Don't have to be experienced. Sometimes the experienced people are frustrated from what's happening in the company. They will not work with
Yeah.
passion. I'm saying this from experience. Yeah, sometimes some experienced guys, of course, will give you like a good flavor, of course, of what's happening and all, but you need the fresh minds, the outside eye that's coming, like a consultant or something, but a fresh eye that's coming that can see what's happening and can give
Yes.
idea what are the decisions that's going to be made. Yes, great.
Exactly. Time is flying, and
Yeah.
I believe
Last
also
question.
the engagement is moving
It's
up, 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 up,
great.
up. Okay,
Right,
so
strategic KPIs that
Great.
show. Yeah,
yes. So what
okay,
are
so
the strategic KPIs
yeah,
that show our S&OP is successful? It's nice question.
Mhm.
it's a
Very
very
good.
nice question,
Mm.
right? So it's okay, it's a nice question, but a very difficult question to answer at the same
Mm.
time, because to achieve a KPI. So I generally start with two very basic KPIs. Okay,
Mm.
so when you try to meet the demand versus supply, three things should happen very comparatively quickly.
Mm.
That is, your on-time performance should go up. It may be on
Yes.
request, on promise, whatever.
Yeah.
Then at the same time, you should reduce your inventory, because one agenda I used to drive in SOP meeting, which people used to hate me. I used to bring excess and obsolete discussion into SNOP meeting, right?
Mhm.
Mm.
You want me to put the right stock on the floor on the shop floor, right? Great,
Yeah.
great, great. I can do that. But what happened to all the crap you ordered 6 months ago? You're not selling.
Yes.
Which again,
Yes.
Ahmed Khalid have a very nice video with great animation and acting. Right, he should win an Oscar on that. So yeah, and again, it's
Thank
a
you.
very nice video. So Ahmed, that proves I watch your videos, mate. See, I'm referring at the right place, right? So
Thank you.
and so your excess and obsolete inventory should reduce, or inventory should reduce, and you
Yeah.
should see that impact fairly quickly in 6 months. The third impact
100%.
you should see is reduction of your lead time, because that's just
Mhm.
is a byproduct of that, right? So if you reduce your total lead time, that means you can supply quickly. So when these three things happen, then naturally you
Yeah.
build your customer credibility. That means
Customer
customer
service
trust.
levels.
That
Mm.
means you can supply on time, no backlog, and you start hitting your sales target. So your sales goes up naturally 5 to 10%,
Yeah.
no more than 5% or 10%, right? Right.
Yes.
The thing is, you can deploy your pricing strategies better, your sales strategy is better, your promotion strategy is better,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That means by doing that, you
Agility.
get more money, right?
Yes.
You can see how I'm building this, right? But you can't start
Yes.
from making a lot of money without having a good customer service.
The
So
basics. Yes.
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 all starts from there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so customer service, inventory, lead time, credibility, more sales, more money, right?
Yeah.
Once that has happened, there's one KPI is the supply chain consultant tried to shove it into my throat, and I hate, which is forecast MAPE. MAPE.
Mm.
Mm.
I don't
MAP.
give a
Yeah.
monkey.
Yeah.
I don't give a monkeys. I am really sorry if I'm really upsetting anybody who loves MAPE and demand planners. Honestly, never use this many times. Every software provider tried to sell me.
Mm.
Nobody understand that shit. Nobody actually use. Nobody know actually how to use it anyway, right?
Yeah.
If anybody on this call teach me how to use MAPE and improve the demand planning and S&OP, I'll become a fan. I'll leave supply
Doctor,
chain.
I'm totally with you because especially if I speak about this, we will open up a fire because
Yeah.
again, I'm serious about that because when it comes to consultancy, some people I don't want to speak about that, but when it comes to consultancy, they have one size fits all by the meaning. When it comes to we need to enhance our forecast accuracy, but what is the question? There is a big connection between your distribution and your forecasting, and this one I think that we need to have a big episode about this, the distribution and forecasting. At which level you are forecasting? If you have a
Yes.
one echelon, like have 4 DCs, 5 DCs, how you will be able to forecast? Is it total national level, or you will be able to do it on a DC level? How you will aggregate how you will de-aggregate this, and which error you will aggregate this based on what? All of these questions, when it comes to reality, and ask the consultancy about that, they say, "Yeah, we need to reduce the error. Where? How? Tell me." Because the error that maybe I will aggregate the error of offsetting the errors at total national level, but I have some challenges in my inventory in each and every DCs, which ends up with some service level issues that is helping the served ship to from this DC to the customer ship to in that point, and also it ends up with some inventory challenges. So I don't want to speak about this because we can
No,
speak for hours.
it's great. Of course, it's a great session, and the way, of course, that Dr. Mudassir is
He put hands on, yeah.
putting the hands-on spot on, and the points are really detailed. I will not add to that, of course, a lot. As Dr. Mudassir said, maybe if some people need like the terms that use inventory days, of course, measure inventory days, strategic KPIs, make sure the cash-to-cash cycle, try to measure it, how the inventory turnover, if you can check how many times the inventory is turned. These are kind of KPIs, and of course, like doctor said, measure check if the graph, like we said in the warehouse, the obsolete stocks, make sure that you get rid how much it is reduced. All these are very important KPIs for successful S&OP.
Yeah.
And as Ahmed was saying, the level of forecasting, at which level you're forecasting. Start forecasting at the family level. This is one of my suggestions, and it works. If you forecast that the more that you forecast on a higher level, even if you forecast on a country level and disintegrate, you will get more forecast accuracy. You will start to get more hands-on on the forecast, better results. Maybe, of course, because as long as you're forecasting not going down to the SQ level, and focus, as doctor was saying, ABC analysis, focus on the 80-20. If you hit the 80-20 forecasting with high accuracy, everything the doctor was mentioned will definitely come in. The inventory levels, everything will be going better. This is what I wanted to add.
Absolutely. This is Ahmed. Again, I second what he just said at the end. So 80-20 rule, get focused on 80%, which will take your 20% of the effort. Get that right, and then move on.
Yeah.
Yes. Great.
One of the core things also, just to add on this question, which is what is the business objectives? So, for instance, if I have the best KPIs and if I have a green KPIs for the S&OP from inventory and from the OTIF, from everything, and at the same time, the business objectives are not fulfilled, then I believe that you don't have a successful S&OP, because the S&OP, it's not one way, it's two ways of communication. It's uh, whatever you have the business objectives from top down, and the S&OP through the tactical plans, and it connects the connection between the tactical plans and the operational plan will give you the right feedback where this business objective, is it achievable, yes or no, and if there is no, what is the gap and risk, and how can you overcome it. So again, it's not about only the KPIs, the small KPIs. If I have green KPIs and the business is going into a close corner, then I believe that the S&OP is not working very well, and we have some challenges, some gaps that you have to work on it. Yeah.
Great, great, guys. I
I
don't
think
know. We
that
need, I think, 3 sessions more with Dr.
yeah,
Mudassir.
I see that our friend I hear you saying, I hope you're already thinking about part two regarding this
Yes.
topic. You are opening
I think
doors for too many friends.
we need a part two, because really we will try to cover, of course, all the
Yeah,
questions in the comments if we can go, or if you want to ask us directly, or ask of course our guest Dr. Mudassir, who's an expert
please.
on S&OP and supply chain. We will try to cover all the questions, I think, through comments, but the session is we're over time.
I didn't feel the time. So again,
Yes.
Dr. Mudassir, we would like to thank you for your great effort and your amazing and wonderful experience that I believe if you can see from people how the engagement was today, because we are covering real touching base questions and pains in the S&OP and inside even the supply chain. Before we close our episode, Doctor, so would you mind if you share about how people they can connect with you, and if you have something that you can help them with based on SCMDOJO?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So, I mean, we know, all of us know each other by LinkedIn, right? So we become, let's call it, virtual friends. We never met each other, and
Yes.
we can see we have a good camaraderie is LinkedIn. So connect with LinkedIn. Ideally follow, send a connection request. I think about it. Again, I'm on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. Everything is at Mudassirism, which is my name and ISM. You or just Google my name, you'll find me, right? So by all means, connect. And if you send me a message on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter, you mostly get quicker answer for this. Facebook is for old people. I don't use. I'm just joking. I try to use Facebook as well, but Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn is probably the best, right? Or you can email me Mudassir at scmdojo.com, right? And I've got a very massive plans for SCMDOJO. So what I can tell you is there's some really good breaking news to follow in a few months' time. Don't want to give too much, but I'm going to give you my vision, really. And Ahmed, if you allow me 2 minutes, if I can take.
Sure.
Please, doctor, go ahead.
What's actually happened with supply chain? There is like Apex or SIF. They're doing a good job in creating a lot of good content, but they are trying to sell something which is super expensive, invented and written 20 years ago. So you can buy 3 books and you can actually read whatever Apex and CSCP are doing. So I'm not downgrading it. What I'm saying is the knowledge is available literally with the 1/20th of the cost, right? You just need to be good in Google, right? And this is what Ahmed said at the start, right? If you want searching about, how to deploy S&OP or inventory management or difference between procurement and purchasing, if you Google, you're gonna find SCMDOJO, because I focus too much on search engine optimization to get it. The vision of SCMDOJO is knowledge and solutions for everyone, right? Because what we do is, again, focus on people, and we focus on creating processes and focus on system, and then focus on execution. So when I try to, and this is the banner I have, right? I'm trying to focus on creating a content and tools. So you see courses which helps you giving you knowledge. There's a tools available, because I'm actually tonight or tomorrow morning I'm about to launch a procurement KPI dashboard. I already have a supply chain KPI dashboard. So basically, there's a blog called 18 Supply Chain KPIs, which you can read, and there is a tool available. So, and that tool, I have created a video. You can download, put your company logo, put your name, tell your boss you have done a great job. I have no problem. Do that, right? It makes you look good. Please do that, right? But the aim between what Ahmed is doing, we are trying to, we are passionate about our profession, and we trying to do which somebody would have done 10 years ago if you would have asked me, right?
Yeah.
So SCMDOJO will become a place which you can buy courses, and then we gonna do the same thing. We're gonna combine our effort with the Ahmed, and then we do webinars and mentoring. It will be a membership model, but it will be launched in a few months' time, right? And also you can basically there's one thing called, I'm gonna give you an example to explain the concept. As a supply chain people, what is the basic definition of supply chain? We manage information to manage material flow. So this is the very basic definition of supply chain. So 82% people who works in supply chain manage information. So we're in the laptop, basically managing information, crunching numbers from where to where. Unless you work for a warehouse or you're a logistics operator, they touch the product, right? But most of us manage information. So we got to become very good in managing information. So what COVID has done beautifully is to promote this distance working. It's become a normal now, okay, which I always believe. So that leads to this concept of supply chain as a service. So for example, I know a few people who actually do provide this demand forecasting as a service. And this is a very pertinent point here. And I can do that for you. So if you give me your sales data, I have a software, I have an expert who can do. So if you don't have to hire let's call it a forecaster, we can do it for you. So the point is, I know a lot of expert in supply chain design. For example, if you want to hire a S&OP expert, not full time, you can hire Ahmed and Ahmed, right? They know their gig, right? They have enormous amount of knowledge. So the point I'm trying to make, I want to bring like a SWAT team or Avengers of those experts who's available, and you can hire them. And those people are not consultant actually, because consultant will kill you with the cost. They are already practitioners doing their jobs maybe, or doing something else, and available to help you. And I have experimented that and it has worked. So SCMDOJO is a place for the supply chain community. Come in, tell your problem, we're gonna find you a solution.
Thank you, Doctor, again. Thank you for the purpose that you're taking SCMDOJO to the next level, which is something that will take you also to your vision. Thank you again for the valuable inputs, insights, and wonderful experience with the stories. And I believe that also you can see this from the engagement from our people today. And I would like also to thank our people who engage with us today. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Excuse us if there are many questions that we didn't answer. We will do our best to have two things. Number one, to come back to you on the questions. And number two, we'll try to have another episode with Dr. Mudassir very soon.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's talk it offline. Let's schedule. I really like this session today. The energy is amazing. Your engagement is amazing. The way you guys are hosting is amazing.
Thank you, Doctor.
I don't want to suck it up too much. I attended too many podcasts, but by far that was the best. 100%.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much,
Doctor. Thank you, and see you all next week. Inshallah. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yes, guys. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.